Alright, so today, guys, we're going to be talking about slope. You guys have heard this before. You should know a lot about it. So we're going to talk about, see how much you know and what you don't know. So first of all, when I say the word slope, close your eyes and tell me what comes into your mind when you think of the word slope. And if you have an answer, raise your hand. Peyton.
A line.
I don't think it's a line. But yes, okay, slope has a line. In the real world, a hill. I think of a hill. Who here has ever been skiing? You've been skiing? A roller coaster? Yeah, steepness, right? So, slope is dealing with a certain level of steepness. Alright? So, what I want you guys to do on your paper is draw some lines that have some steepness to them. Alright, so draw one that looks like this. Draw one that looks like this. Draw one that looks perfectly flat. And draw one that looks perfectly vertical. Vertical. There we go. Apparently, I have a feeling one of my videos today, it wasn't being recorded. Here's where it was being recorded. Yeah. I guess I actually turned my microphone off. That's not good. I wasted a whole class period. Well, not for the students that were there, for the students who are trying to watch the video. No, I'll take it away. All right. So right here, we have our n value, which is equal to slope. By the way, how do you read slope? You always read the slope of a line from left to right. So from the left to the right. So right here, I'm going to, from the left side going to the right side, what do you notice going with the hand? It's going, try it again. From left to right, it's going up. So if it's going upwards from left to right, you know that's totally a positive slope. Okay? But from the left to the right, if the hand's going down from the left to the right, that would be negative. That means it's going down. Alright? That's a negative slope. Good, plus and minus. Now, from the left to the right, on this one, you know what? That's not a very good graph because I think it looks like it's slightly going up. They did a very good job. Let's try a better job. All right, how about that one? Yes, it does. It has a slope. It's not going up and it's not going down. So it's a number that's neither positive nor negative. 0. That's right. So this does have a slope. Don't insult it. It does have a name. It's called 0. It's not going up or down. In fact, when you get your very first apartment, put a skateboard on a nice hard floor, all right, and just leave it there. If it starts rolling, you know you don't have a 0 slope. Okay? You want it to be perfectly flat. All right? I'm just saying, you just leave it there. If your skateboard starts to roll without you pushing it, that's not a good thing. That means your floor is not level. All right? You want to have a 0 slope. All right, now, this one's going to be kind of tricky. I'm starting right here. Now I'm moving the hand from left to right. Do you see it moving from left to right? No. I can't. It's impossible. It can only go what? Up or down. Since you can't read this graph from left to right, that's why we call this undefined. Only Superman or Spider-Man or some other superhero, can walk on that. All right? I don't know. I can't remember who's but the guy who climb. Okay, well he's not walking straight up. Alright? Alright, that would be impossible. Alright? Unless you're Garrett. You can probably find a way. So, we have positive, negative, 0, and undefined. By the way, anything that's a 0 slope, your equation is going to be y is equal to a constant, which is a number. Like y equals 1 or y equals negative 2. If you want your graphing calculator, you could hit y equals and type in a 1 or a negative 2, and both those lines would go right there at a 1 and right there at a negative 2. Those are 0 slope lines. Okay? However, vertical lines are always going to be x equals a constant. So it could be x equals a 3 or x equals a negative 4. All right? So these lines will be vertical, and the y equals will be horizontal. And you graph the vertical line the same way you graph the horizontal line. You have to go over here in your graphing calculator. You have to turn on the inequality, the n equals at, the inequality at. And then you could go up to where it says x equals, press enter, and say, I want x to equal a 5, and hit graph. And there's x equals 5. All right? Or you could go over here and say, no, I want x to not equal 5. I want x to equal a -3. Hit graph. There's your x equals graph. All right? All right, so words to describe slope. All right, positive, negative, 0, undefined. Slope is talking about the steepness of a graph. All right, so slope is referring to the steepness of a graph. Most commonly, you probably have heard what? Rise over run. Okay, but the rise is dealing with something specific. All right? The rise is dealing with the change in the y values over the change in the x. Now, if you guys get to physics and chemistry, sometimes you'll see this symbol, right? You'll see a delta, then another letter, and a delta, and another letter. That means changing. So a shorter way to write change in y is just delta y. Okay? So if you guys are dealing with change in temperatures and stuff like that, you'll see delta and the temperature. It's Q is the temperature, dealing with physics. Delta y over delta x is dealing with change in y over change in x. That's where we come up with the formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This formula is the formula for the change in the y over the change in the x, which equals our m value known as slope. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make sure you understand a very logical, organized way to solve for a slope in any line if you have 2 points. Okay? Most of you will know how to do this, but I want you guys to try my way of doing it and see if this will help keep things organized for you a little bit better. So what I'd like you to do is put number 5 into your journal. Please put number 5 into your journal. And we're going to be on 2-3, dealing with slope. So number 5. So with number 5, Emily, what's my ordered pairs for number 5? 4 and a 5. 2 and a 7. Now when you guys put 4, oh actually, hold on. Look at 2-3. That's another one.
Okay.
Number 5.
-3.
-3. -1.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Sorry, I said 5.
Okay, how about try it over? What is it?
-3.
-3. 5. Okay.
-3.
-3. -1. Okay. Got it. Those are the ordered pairs for number 5 on 2-3 on your assignment called slope. Alright? What I'd like you guys to do right now in your journal is I'd like you to label this one x1. Label this y1. Label this x2. Label this y2. So label them. Order them. This is your first x coordinate. This is your first y coordinate. This is your second x coordinate. This is your second y coordinate. Then and only then do I want you guys to write m, which stands for slope, equals. Put a big old line right here. I want you to do open parentheses minus open parentheses. Open parentheses minus open parentheses. So set this up in your journal where you are leaving an open parentheses to plug in numbers. Garrett, label this one y2. Label this one y1. Label this one x2. Label this one x1. Now that we've ordered this set of ordered pairs and we've labeled this set of ordered pairs, Now when I ask you, JC, what's the y2 value, automatically you can look up here and see it's a -1. And Garrett, if I asked you what the y1 value is, you're going to scan up here and look for where I labeled it y1 and say it's the number 5. Very good. All right. Now, Haley, what about x2? What's my x2? -3. And Kristen, what about my x1? -3. So now we've plugged in everything. There's a reason why I want you guys to use parentheses. In the numerator, we have a -1 minus a 5. So you just have -1 minus a 5, and that simply gets me to a -6. But in your journal right now, I'd like you to put an arrow here and an arrow right there, and when you have a negative and a negative right next to each other, what happens? All right, that makes it into a positive. So in the denominator, you have a -3, but then you have a +3. A negative times a negative is a positive. That's why this right here becomes a positive. Okay. Now, when you have -3 plus 3, look what happens to my denominator. 0. Whenever you guys have a 0, when you're solving for a slope of a line, if you get 0 in the denominator, that's when your answer is undefined. So for number 5, on your paper, simply write undefined for number 5 on your paper. Okay? It's undefinable. Now, by the way, before we move on, there is an equation that goes with this line. Can anybody tell me that even though it's undefined, there is an equation that goes with this? What are both of my x values? They're both -3. My equation that goes with this vertical line that's undefined is x equals -3. I could give you 2 ordered pairs and tell me, what's the equation that goes with this 2 set of points? And the equation is x equals -3. What would that look like? That would look like right here. That would be this line. At x equals what? -3. If I said graph those points, what were the 2 points? -3 what? -3 what? 3, 5, and -3, -1. -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right here, and -3, -1 is right here, and if you connect those 2 points, that's the line that you get. Okay? So, it's undefined, your answer is undefined, but the equation is x equals -3. That's just for your journal. Okay? Now, number 6. Put number 6 in your journal, please. All right, here's number 6. Once again, I want you guys to label this x1, y1, x2, y2. Your slope is going to equal make sure you put open parentheses when you do this. All right, label this y2, y1, x2, x1. Always make sure you put parentheses with the big old fat minus sign in between them. Okay? All right, now Garrett, what is my y2 value?
2 or
-2. Good. What's my y1 value?
-2.
-2. What's my x2 value?
10.
Good. What's my x1 value?
-10.
Good. Just by looking up here, you're placing those numbers correctly in the slots. Now, you're going to notice right here that right here we have what? 2 negatives, which make a positive. So make sure you see that right here. Once again, you have 2 negatives that make a positive. So in the numerator, you're going to have -2 plus 2. Fast forwarding ahead, you'll notice we have -2 plus 2, which is 0, over 10 plus 2, which is 12. But whenever you have 0 in the denominator, what's your slope? No, it's not undefined. Your slope is 0. Now, by the way, we have an equation that goes with this. Your equation that matches this is y is always equal. Look right here. It's always equal to a negative 2. That would be the